Let's begin with saying Om 3 times together. कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि भवानी सहितं नमामि. The word in Sanskrit for good health is swasthya. Of course, there are other words, but one well-known word is swasthya. And in English, there is the word for illness, disease. If you take swasthya on one hand and disease on the other, thank you, that will help. In both of these words, there is an insight into why life becomes unhappy. Swasthya means good health, and the word shows swastha. Swa is oneself, one's true self, one's true inner nature. Stha means the Sanskrit stha or sta, the verbal root, is the same as the English stay. Stha, sta tishtati. Stay, one stays in this context in one's own true nature. If you and I were to truly recognize our true nature and stay there, then swasmini tishtati, swasmini sthanam swasthyam. And the English word also is nice. Disease is nothing but going away from the natural ease. Either way, the fascinating teaching that comes through such an analysis is happy living requires coming home, returning home. Pujya Swami Chidananda, whose birthday we celebrate on May 8, today's date, popularized Hari Om so much, and I'm saying things which all of you know. Hari Om is often humorously explained as Hari Om. In our spiritual ignorance, or whatever else you call, some unnecessary curiosity and some unsteadiness, we go away from our home, from our true nature, and then saying hi, we come back. Ramana Maharshi used to say, there was this man on a hot summer day. He was below a tree enjoying the shade, but out of just certain restlessness or certain curiosity, he would go out of the shade some distance and then say, oh, it is too hot, and go back to the shade. And Maharshi Ramana would say, a wise person would not leave the shade. All examples have certain limitations. Do not stretch them in any fashion. If you stretch any example, it will be like I tell you. A husband and wife went to see the Taj Mahal. And the husband, who is normally not given to pleasing and gentle talk, he is normally lost in his own work. That late evening or that night, he said to his wife, "You know, whenever I see this beautiful Taj Mahal, it straight away takes my mind to you." It was supposed to be such a rich compliment. And the wife had done engineering, like some of us have done. This engineering, makes our heart go a little dry and head become too active. The wife had done engineering. So she slapped him on this. "Don't compare me with Taj Mahal." He said, "Why? I complimented you." She said, "Do I have 4 minars on my heads?" He meant a certain pleasing, in Sanskrit they call ahladaka. Ahladaka is, if you are stressed, you get a little relaxed. You get a little cheerful. That is ahlada. So Taj Mahal, which is admired by millions, stands for that ahlada, that cheer, that serenity. But her mind went to the 4 minars. Do I have 4 minarets on my head? Like that, whether it is rope and snake or other examples that come in the spiritual literature, we are not to stretch the illustration beyond what it is meant to convey. If you want to really dig deep into the issue, then keep the illustration or the example away and go for a different approach. I'll come to that, I guess, later on, how there is a deeper dimension to spiritual inquiry, which in fact dispenses with all examples and illustrations. Examples, illustrations, humor, stories, parables, all that has a wonderful place, but when you go deeper into the matter, one has to look at the truth with direct eyes, not through the medium of any illustration. So every illustration has certain limitations. All this came because I mentioned about a man who was enjoying the shade of a tree, and without any true reason, he goes out and regrets, "Oh, it's so hot there," and comes back. Like that, all of us in this life, and as we generally believe in Hinduism, in previous lives, have gone out into areas, into scenarios, more than outer scenarios, into visualizing ourselves in some way where the result is stress and agitation. Do not visualize yourself in any manner. Vedanta would say, know yourself to be pure existence consciousness and stay put there. Atmanishto bhavatvam, they say. Nishta means stay firmly in the Atma. And all Vedanta is about Atma-jnana, the knowledge of the pure self. Shiva-aparādha-kshamāpana-stotra, which we are taking up now, is on the surface begging Lord Shiva, begging him for forgiveness for our lapses. Nobody should imagine Shiva's aparādha, what lapses did he commit, In a hurry, Shiva-aparādha might sound like Shivasya aparādha. Lord Shiva's faults. Shiva. Lord Shiva did not commit any fault. Even if in some of the stories he seems to have done something which may not agree with us, like he cut the head of Ganesha, the beloved son, and later, of course, blessed him with anything that could be substituted over there, and elephant's head was put. All that is known to be Leela. All that has below the surface certain rationale, it served some purpose, and we don't find fault with Shiva or Vishnu. So Shiva-aparādha-kshamāpana-stotra in that sense is a very different kind of samasa. Shiva-aparādha-kshamāpana-stotram. Stotram is a hymn. Stotram is a set of verses that praises Lord Shiva for kshamāpana and begs for kshamāpana. Kshamāpana is the act of forgiving. We beg Shiva for forgiveness for aparadhas committed by us, of course. Janma janmantareshu, in lives after lives. If you and I are doing certain foolish things repeatedly in this life, one explanation given in the Shastras, in the scriptures, which are an amazing storehouse of wisdom. More you study, more your eyebrows go up at the issues dealt with and the depth and breadth of the way scriptures deal with life's issues. So, in life after life, it seems we have erred. So we are doing certain errors. Every one of us makes resolutions on our birthday, on this day, on that day. Tomorrow onwards, I will not repeat this mistake of mine. And then next day or same evening, we make a mistake. Some of us, or a good number of us, impulsively say things which we should not have said, and we regret. And a smaller number, I suppose, or maybe equal number, do the opposite mistake, where something has to be said right away, on the spot, we say, I will tell later. Some complex, some hesitation. And later, if you try to tell, it will lose its power. You should have said it right there. So, errors of commission and omission, as we call it. An error of commission is you do what should not have been done. An error of omission is you do not do what should have been done. Who among us, including the speaker, is free of these errors? So that is aparādha. The word aparādha can mean something big or something small. Small or big. When in our conduct, kāyena vācā manasa, in our conduct physically, in our conduct verbally, and in our conduct mentally. Kāyena vācā manasa. Kara charana kritam vāk kāyajam. That is coming as the last verse of this work also. That shloka is found in apparently many works. We don't know originally where it appeared. Kara charana kritam vāk kāyajam vā. Faults done by hand, faults done by our feet. We stepped on something where we should not have. Vāk means through speech, and kāyajam through any part of the body, and manas, buddhi, all are covered there. And we seek forgiveness of God for all these lapses. So we have moved away from a certain optimum, beneficial and close to truth way. There's a way of being which is closer to truth. Then there are umpteen ways of being in such a way that is farther from truth. And all spirituality in that sense is asatoma sadgamaya. In asat there is sorrow. In sat there is peace. This is the higher truth. Find out in your life what kind of asat dragged you away from the natural well-being, swasthya in you, and start walking back and reach Sat. We must become Atmanishta, we must become Sannishta. Sat plus Nishta, Sannishta, Satyanishta. For someone who stays in Sat, there cannot be any sorrow at all. Is the wisdom of the rishis. All sorrow is because we embrace asat, falsehood. All sorrow is because we move away from light to darkness, tamas and jyoti. All sorrow is because we turn away from our immortal nature and slip into a certain self-visualization where there is death. So the Brihadaranyaka Shanti Mantra says, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Ma over there means ma, me. Somewhere else ma can mean don't. You are about to drink something and if I say ma piba, don't drink. That is different. But ma in this famous mantra is the alternative form of mam, me. Lead me from the false to the truth, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. With these few words of general introduction, one last point is begging Shiva for forgiveness is a very healthy psychological process in which we in fact make mid-course correction. There is both drishta and adrishta phala in this. Drishta means what is easily seen. Even in our human relationships, if I, out of some irresponsible behavior, hurt you yesterday, today when I see you, I say, sorry. Sorry for what I did yesterday. That helps. It is logical that the other person who perhaps had taken a little stiff stand towards me softens once I say sorry. Whether the other person softens or not at that instant, if I am able to gather myself to say a sincere, genuine apology, then we can experience. We ourselves feel lighter. So, even in human relationships, asking somebody, excuse me, forgive me for what I did yesterday, can make a difference. What about seeking forgiveness from God? He is the Antaryami. He is inside us. He knows everything. That is drishta phala. Then adrishta is the divine grace. Divine grace is beyond human logic. We don't know how divine grace operates. But as the master of Dakshineshwar, the guru of Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna said, we must put one step towards God. Then God will come 10 steps towards us. These simple words of masters like Sri Ramakrishna have in them tremendous wisdom. God is omnipotent, omniscient, God, of course, can do everything for us, but it is not fair on our part to expect God to do everything. God wants us, it's a game of some sort. God wants us to do the 2 cents.
It's like your answer.
Swami Tejomananji, who taught me when I did the Brahmachari course, 1984 to 86. In the early days only, he had cracked this joke. A devotee knelt down and raising his hands said to God, God, I have been praying and praying and praying for getting lottery prize at least once.
Yeah, I heard it.
And God got fed up of this man, of this lady. God appeared and said, yes, you have been praying, but I have been waiting for you to buy the lottery ticket. You didn't buy the lottery ticket, you want me to buy the lottery ticket on your name and then get you a prize also. That's too much. So, it makes sense. After all, it's all a certain divine play. We got to do our 2 cents. So, drishta and adrishta, that which can be seen easily, logically, and those results of prayers which are beyond logic. They are not illogical. I am never tired of quoting Dr. Radhakrishnan, the second president of independent India, who was a great philosopher, Vedantin, writer, professor and all that. He wrote in one of his books, religion is not against reason. Religion is beyond reason. Whatever doesn't seem to be within the frame of reason should not be dismissed hurriedly. This is illogical. It could be some truth which is above or beyond reason. Reason is a terrific instrument, a terrific tool, no doubt, but reason has its limitations too. Alright, here is Shiva-aparādha-kshamāpana-stotra. A stotra, a hymn, which asks for kshamāpana, forgiveness, Shiva, from Lord Shiva, for aparādhas, for errors or wrongs or sins, whatever you call, done by us. In law they call it crime. In religion it is called sin. Ordinary life, some modest words are used. He did something wrong, some error and so on. Language is such a powerful tool. You could use a big word for a small thing or a small word for a big thing. So, we will see this evening 3 or 4 stanzas, and there are many versions of the Shiva-aparādha-kshamāpana-stotra. I spent some time this morning and eliminated 2 or 3 from what was available in the website sanskritdocuments.com. That's a wonderful source. But those who did a lot of good work for that website, at places have included very many things. Using my discretion, I removed a few. And I have about 12 shlokas, 4 are presented this evening, and 4 more in the second and last 4 in the last class. So, we will see now straight away the first shloka. Many of you I know already know how to recite this, but as a good exercise to do, kindly repeat after me as I chant the first shloka. This is Shardula Vikridita they call. 12 plus 7, 12 plus 7, 12 plus 7. 19 syllables. Syllables are called Uchchara Ansha. Uchchara is pronouncing, Ansha is a kind of unit. So there are 19 syllables in each quarter, and such a long meter, to say the simple stuff, helps a poet to put much more than otherwise. in a single shloka. You take a very short meter that may be easy for people to recite, like Upadeshasara has the shortest meter. Karturajnaya 5, Prapyate Phalam 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Very nice, very simple. But you can't, pour into the shloka more of ideas and descriptions. So here we go. Adau karma prasangat.
Adau karma prasangat.
Kalayati kalusham.
Kalayati kalusham.
Matrukukshau stitam mam.
Matrukukshau stitam mam.
Vinmutra medhya madhye.
Vinmutra medhya madhye.
Kvathayati nitharam.
Kvatayati nitaram.
Jataro jatavedah.
Jataro jatavedah.
Yadyadvai tatra dukkham.
Yadyadvai tatra dukkham.
Vyatayati nitaram.
Yatayati nitaram.
Shakyate kena vaktum.
Shakyate kena vaktum.
Shantavyo me paradaha.
Shantavyo me paradaha.
Shiva 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 Bho.
Shiva 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 Bho.
Shri Mahadeva Shambho.
Shri Mahadeva Shambho.
Adau means in the beginning. Karma prasangat. Right when we are born, we are in the form of an embryo in our mother's womb. Starting with that, as the embryo grows. These are poetic descriptions. We should not connect them too much with modern medicine and, don't consult an OBG person here. Please tell me how true this shloka is and so on. Poetry, you see, is more to convey a certain message. It doesn't have to have the precision of sciences. Basically, even to be the embryo in the mother's womb and grow is a scenario of a lot of limitations. And poetry uses certain exaggerated expressions. Any limitation, any constraint, any form of bondage is sorrowful. The soul in us wants freedom. In Aitareya Upanishad it is said, Rishi Vamadeva, even as he was in the womb of his mother, thanks to his puro sanskaras, impressions of his past lives where he had done tremendous spiritual practices. Thanks to those past impressions, Rishi Vamadeva asked himself, who am I? Why am I bound here by all these, physical limitations? Why am I not experiencing total freedom? And apparently, this Rishi Vamadeva conducted Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I? Self-inquiry in the womb of mother. And then he says, in the mantra it is said, hundreds of iron rods make a prison, make a cage in which I, the soul, am caught. But I am going to break them. By self-inquiry, he breaks them all, for in this spiritual science, all bondage actually is reducible to mental constructs. If there is anything that is binding us, it is the mind only. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. There is the mantra in the Amrita Bindu Upanishad. The mind alone. Thought. Thought binds us. Thought divides us. Thought makes us compare and feel low at times. thought makes us compare with somebody and feel higher sometimes. The truth is, none is high, none is low. None is bound, none is superior. There are no true problems. Vedanta's ultimate realization, which is for us too high, but when you appreciate it, you see some truth in it. Actually, Vedanta's truth is you are ever free, but at this moment your mind creates for you such a sense of bondage and helplessness and terrible situation that you may even feel or think of committing suicide and whatnot. All in Tiruvannamalai, in Tamil Nadu, at Brahmana Ashram, there lives a gentleman originally from Australia, David Gardman. He humble, simple person. You can meet him like meeting anybody on the street. If you go to Tiruvannamalai, you ask him, "Are you David Gardman, Canada?" Let us sit down here. Let's sit somewhere. That's what happened to me some 6 years ago. I've been there. And a friend of mine wanted to talk to David Gardman. I said, let's try. And I saw him coming down and I said, first of all, I was not 100% sure. Are you not David Gardman? Yes, I am. And I said, my friend from Dallas, Srinath, is very eager to have a word with you. Oh, yeah, I'm just going around there. In 10 minutes, I'll come and sit outside the bookshop. There is some kind of platform. So you can meet me there. And 10 minutes later, Srinath, myself, and one Katyayani, we sat there and we had the pleasure of having a chat. But this David Gardman is an amazing person, has written so much, has answered interviews, video in YouTube, etc. He has done enormous contribution to literature on Ramana Maharshi. One of his bestseller books is Be As You Are. Be As You Are is a collection of Maharshi Ramana's answers to questions, categorized, classified. And this man took a break, and some years ago, when there was an illumined saint in Lucknow, this saint who was regarded as enlightened was called Punja, Mr. Punja, H.W.L. Punja, or Papaji also. This David Gardman said, let me explore Punja a little bit. He went and 3 years he spent in Lucknow, every day attending the satsangs of H.W.L. Punja and making notes. Without making it very long, he brought out a set of 3 volumes on the teachings of H.W.L. Punja. No different from Ramana or Nisargadatta or classical Vedanta or J. Krishnamurti and all that. It's a high plateau spiritual wisdom. The 3 volumes were titled in a very, very weird manner. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3 of the book, Nothing Ever Happened. You take those 3 volumes and you want to study, nothing ever happened. Isn't it funny? But you may be pleasantly surprised if I say that is what one of the top Vedanta statements in Mandukya Karikas by Gaudapada, Shankara's Guru's Guru, says, Etat taduttamam satyam. Etat tad uttamam satyam. This is the best of all truths. Yatra kinchid na jayate. There is a statement in Mandukya Karikas. The highest truth, if you arrive there in your advanced understanding, is that nothing ever happened. You are, you were, you will be that pure, ever free consciousness principle. Nothing ever happened at all. So, to create a certain poetic description, pointing out or describing our present self-perception. I am emphasizing this word, self-perception. You know, perceive is to see, you could see yourself as you truly are, or you could see yourself erroneously. Very much like the illustration in Advaita Vedanta, the rope and the snake. You see rightly, it is a rope, nothing to be afraid of. But you see erroneously, there is a snake and you are in panic mode. So, in our life, in various situations, there is right seeing. The highest plateau, of course, no action is needed. But even in the matter of right and wrong, dharma and adharma, if you see yourself rightly, then you see what is to be done, and you only concern yourself with doing what needs to be done. You don't waste even an iota of energy on going in circles. Why this to me? Why did this happen to me today only? Why did it not happen some days back? Or you could have waited for some days. All this is waste of energy. So, there is right seeing. Adi Shankara in his commentaries on many occasions at important places uses the word Samyak Darshana. Samyak Darshana is right seeing. If you see people rightly, things rightly, this creation rightly, all of them is a one single process. You see yourself rightly, in right seeing there is no fear, no desire, there is just flow. You do the right thing happens at your hands. A little of error and then divisions are created. All this has a lot to say, a lot to clarify. We will try to do it. So Shankaracharya creates this being in the womb of one's mother, karma prasangat matra kukshau stitam. The first sentence is Jataro jatavedaha kvatayati. Jatavedaha is a word to mean fire. The heat inside makes me uncomfortable. And kvatayati means makes one uncomfortable in the midst of all kinds of biological, anatomical things, not having the freedom. Later on, when the child is born, grows a little bit, mother or grandmother takes the child to a park nearby. What a freedom! The child is a little bigger, climbs the steps, goes down the slide, moves around, and his or her needs are addressed immediately by the accompanying adults. So, compared with that freedom which is on its way in the mother's womb, the girl or the boy is so constrained. And it is said, Yad yad vai tatra dukkham. All this kind of constraints and limitations cause sorrow. Shakyate kena bhaktum. Shankara asked this question. Shankara is regarded as the author of this hymn. Kena bhaktum shakyate. For whom is it possible to describe, to know, to put in words? Therefore, without saying much, this being in the womb itself is a bondage, and that happened karma prasangat, my own karma. It is my past actions. Over there also, on a certain level, karma is an excellent explanation for anything that happens in life. Though Hinduism is criticized at many places, they talk of karma. They are, anything you raise, they'll say karma. I believe some professor in Chicago had said long back, these Hindus, all philosophy revolves around 3 Ks. Karma, cow, karma and caste. K-mart of some sort. Karma, caste and cow. Ka is pronounced. But maybe that professor also meant or said in a lighter vein. I'm sure he also studied Hinduism as its own depth and each of these karma, caste and cow are not to be judged hastily. Everything has its background. As Swami Chidananda did a wonderful exercise. Caste, he said, is as per the gunas. There the matter ends actually. If everybody were to listen to him, then everything can be brought to justice, brought to harmony and so on. Anyway, so karma prasanga, let me say something and then go to the next shloka. Is karma the final answer? No, we don't say it is the final answer. But 99 out of 100 people are not ready for what David Godman, perceived as the essence of Papaji's teachings. Nothing ever happened. So if the question is asked, why am I bound? Why am I handicapped? Why don't I have both the legs while everybody else has both the legs? Mentally, physically, financially, in a number of ways. Why am I or my son or my niece? Why this? Karma answers to a great extent. But if you go deep, we would say, if you really are going to greatest depth, in spite of this boy not having one of the two legs, that girl being mentally challenged, despite my being financially, driven to a hard spot, in spite of all that, if I conduct self-inquiry, if I do the Vedantic teaching, study and meditation, these things do not matter at all. So the same Hinduism which talks about karma extensively, actually on higher lessons, advanced lessons, actually dismisses karma. There is no karma at all. You are free this moment. Ashtavakra had, how many? 8 deformities in the body. Therefore his name was Ashtavakra. Vakra is deformity. In spite of those 8 deformities, he was a bundle of joy. They say rather than walking into Janaka's court, the court of King Janaka, because of all his deformities, he sort of rolled into the court. And people there, scholars, learned people, laughed at this figure coming inside. And then he made a comment. King Janaka, I thought in your court, in this royal court, I thought there are wise people, learned people. But now I see cobblers here. There are only cobblers. King Janaka is shaken in his chair. Oh, what do you mean by that? They are only seeing me on the skin level. They don't see what vision I have. And the rest is history. King Janaka and Ashtavakra, then other scholars and Ashtavakra, they have discussions. And Ashtavakra reveals his Atmanishta. He is established in pure being, not identified with the limitations of the body. A very wealthy man having no financial limitations at all might live in sorrow when he day in and day out compares himself with somebody who is a little wealthier, who has a little more, a few more billions with him. Why am I not that? Why am I not that? Whereas someone else who just has the minimum could be happy. This is a simple truth. Okay, so karma is not the ultimate teaching of Hinduism, but not 99, not 999, 99,999 out of 100,000 people are not able to rise to the plane of vision of self-knowledge. They rather are caught in cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. The truth of Vedanta defies cause and effect. Vivekananda, when he toured this country, USA, towards the end of the 19th century, after that Parliament of Religions in 1893, he went around for 1 or 2 years, I guess, before coming home, returning home to India. In those lectures, at several places, he says, this universe, this whole universe is controlled by space, time, and causation. Third is causation. Causation is an integral element of this creation. And the karma theory is based on causation. Nothing can happen without a cause. Just as in the, what they call, world of atoms and subatomic particles, there are causes and effects. In the world of galaxies and bigger things, there are causes and effects. Microcosmic and macrocosmic scenarios. Vedanta says there is causation in what you and I go through. Whatever you and I go through, joy and sorrow, are caused by some factors. And it is utterly unfair to say, I am in great sorrow because of what she did 3 days back. Why should her actions affect me? Nor can she be happy because of some punya I earned. Therefore, on a certain level, causation is what makes sense, and it is true. It's a lesser truth. But this lesser truth of karma and karma phala appeals to, as I said, in a manner of saying, 99,999. One among these, and it could be any of us here, irrespective of gender or age or any other factor, when you get a certain extraordinary insight, never say I am not qualified for it. I already know that I will get that insight 3 lives later. Don't claim to have such futuristic vision. You could get the liberating vision before this class ends. That's another big topic actually. King Janaka had read somewhere that enlightenment needs as much time as is required to mount a horse. A horse rider goes to the horse, puts his foot upon the left stirrup and raises his right foot, and before you realize what's happening, he is up and he goes. A very small fraction of time. And King Janaka read, and he asked Ashtavakra. So in what is called Ashtavakra Gita, that is the background. And Ashtavakra engages Janaka in a lot of dialogue, and a point comes where in the forest, King Janaka, after listening to so much, contemplating on all that Ashtavakra had said, had risen to a certain height of philosophical understanding. And he, just to go somewhere and maybe get some water or so, he is about to mount a horse. And Ashtavakra says, "Did you get it?" And Janaka looks back at Ashtavakra, and in a flash he understands that there is no doership, no enjoyership, there is no sufferer, no enjoyer. I am naturally at peace. And it is said in this very fascinating story that Janaka gets enlightened, so to say. What is enlightenment is another big topic. Therefore, everything is so to say. So to say, in a manner of saying. All Vedanta discourses are in a manner of saying. The truth itself cannot be said. Anyway, he doesn't even complete that process of mounting the horse. One foot well placed on the left stirrup and the other foot up in the air, he says, "I got it!" And he goes into samadhi for some number of hours. That's the fascinating story. So there is to sum it up, there is a domain of time and causation, and then there is a domain or a truth which is timeless. Karma Siddhanta, some professor in Chicago or somebody in Delhi or Chennai need not tell us. Karma Siddhanta breaks down in the same Sanatana Dharma's philosophy at the right time. When you walk out from that 99,999 and you become that one in the 100,000, to you, the same you. 99,999 times you might have seen the rope as the snake. And on one occasion you say, hey, it's only a rope. It's not a snake at all. So there is no change over there. It's not that you recited some mantra and made the snake change into a rope. It's not that you threw some powder there, magical powder. You just saw rightly. And even to say, I took 20 years to see it rightly. You may say so, but that 20 years has no meaning there. Right seeing is not a matter of this chronological time, the clock moving, the calendar moving and all these. These have no direct bearing on right seeing. When you see, you will see. And that could happen anytime. You could be on a hospital bed with one leg at 45-degree angle and some kind of supports and so on. And in that scenario also, a flash of spiritual insight might come to you. You are blessed. Vedanta Shastra doesn't say, no, first you have to get all right. No, those are not related to this. In recent times, someone like J. Krishnamurti, though he was not understood much by people, but those who understood had an awe about him. He vehemently said, time has no connection to right seeing. And therefore he emphasized on living with alertness, awareness. But Goom Firke, as they call in Hindi, going round and round, his teachings shake hands with Advaita Vedanta. Therefore many people, including me, went to Krishnamurti. I heard him once from a distance. That time I did not understand anything. 1982 I think I had heard him in Chennai. But much later in the mid-90s I began to understand. And that's how, as it was said, I spent 10 years in the Krishnamurti campus. Don't imagine, I was all the time studying Krishnamurti. Wherever you go, we are the same fellows. 10 years over there, let me make a selected confession. I did a lot of unnecessary things also there. And like I did anywhere else, there also I got attached to some people, I fought with some people, and I broke my head on finance or administration or, all kinds. Just because somebody spent some 10 years, oh, he was in a Buddhist monastery for 20 years. You and I imagine, that 20 years in the Buddhist monastery must have been such a transformative experience. But majority of people who spend time in monasteries, they spend their life very much like, because likes and dislikes, and agreement and disagreement, and over small things, we sometimes get agitated. Once I wanted to leave J. Krishnamurti Center, I was very agitated. This is not the place, I should not have come here. That day I just went up to the library there, and there was a book by J. Krishnamurti. And the title of that book was, The Benediction is Where You Are. Is she telling me? Is she telling me? But somehow it impacted me. I dropped the idea of leaving. I have spent just 2 years there. I spent 8 more years there. Which actually blessed me with a lot of clarity about all these topics. But finally the joke is, that benediction is where you are had nothing to do with the physical place where you are. That title is one of the sentences he said at the end of a talk in Mumbai, whereby where you are, he doesn't mean I am in Varanasi or in Chennai or Cary, not the physical place. That day I took it as the physical place and decided, okay, if you say that, I will continue here. It has nothing to do with the physical place. Where you are is the mental construct. You judge yourself to be bad and cry. Another day you judge yourself to be above everybody else. I have come a long way, Of the 6 children of my mother, no one has gone this far as I have, etc. So the mind constructs various ideas. And Krishnamurti's teachings, which I may slightly digress into, say that watch that thought. How your thought, how you are thinking is taking you away from who you truly are. I'm giving a Vedantic interpretation too. He doesn't use exactly these words, but it boils down to that. If you stay with that thought, like mindfulness exercises, be mindful of mind, of your thought saying today that you are in deep trouble. Watch it. That may not be the truth. Some other day the mind says, you have risen. Congratulations. Watch it. Don't take anything for face value. So more than a physical place or a campus or a spiritual center or a utterly commercial place, it is where thoughts take us. And if you notice what thought is doing, then the door opens for you to get out of thought-constructed bondage, thought-constructed superiority, thought-constructed inferiority. And when you walk out of the door, you find that I am not superior, I am not inferior. There is a certain flow of life. I am like any other human being. Somebody praises, you say thank you for courtesy. Somebody makes mockery of you. Slightly it may pain you because of old conditionings. Not that, don't over-idealize it. Then no criticism affects you and so on. It may slightly, even a drop of tear may come down your cheek. But thanks to a certain depth of your philosophical understanding, in 2 seconds, you wipe the tear and move on. And like the title of David Godman's work went, here out of your understanding, nothing ever happened. This man says something, I don't have anything against him. I am not obliged to somebody who praises me. I am not angry with somebody who criticizes me. These words are not necessary, but there is a way of being. You move on, and as though nothing happened at all. You go to let's say dining hall and take your meal. Somebody who was present when somebody insulted you asks, hope you are okay. About what are you talking? You have washed your bosom clean, thanks to that alertness. So Krishnamurti is saying the benediction is where you are, is a call, is an appeal to stay with what thought builds. Our thinking builds serious judgments above all. And in a sense, that is no other than what Maharshi Ramana always called the I thought. Aham vritti. I thought. I thought essentially is a description of I. And the true I cannot be described. The description of I as high or low, as accomplished or a failure in life, all that is in the domain, in the sphere of ignorance. So, kshantavyo me paradaha. My faults, literally, it is a passive voice structure. It's called potential participle. Kshantavya, like kartavya. Kartavya, karaniya, karya. These 3 are called, tavya, aniya and ya. So, bhoktavya, something that should be eaten. Bhojya or bhojaniya. So, there is grammar. Kshantavya, I need to be forgiven. Or in active voice, please forgive me, Shiva. Shiva at once is that major God form of Sanatana Dharma, and Shiva is the utmost, ultimate truth of life. Truth of life can liberate us. Be with truth, you are set free. Continue to embrace falsehood, you invite, sorrow. In falsehood, we have sorrow. Though falsehood tickles us here and there, in a dream, we have some happy moments also. And suddenly we see our house going up in flames, and this or that. We get scared. We get scared. When we wake up, we see all that was just constructed by thought. Just the thought is extended. Let's read the second one. Balye dukkhatireko.
Balye dukkhatireko.
Malalulita vapuhu.
Malalulita vapuhu.
Stanyapane pipasa.
Stanyapane pipasa.
शक्तश्चेन्द्रियेभ्यो
नो शक्तश्चेन्द्रियेभ्यो
भवगुणजनिताः
भवगुणजनिताः
जन्तवो मां
शिव 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 भो
श्रीमहादेव शम्भो
श्रीमहादेव शम्भो.
This extends the thought that began in the first verse. The first verse talked about our being in the womb of our mother, yet to be born. This talks about young days, childhood days, when you are a very small child, an infant, crying every now and then. Dukkhati rekaha, malalulitavapuhu, and all those. Sometimes the child excretes, and it's some time before the mother figures out, changes their diaper and all that. And stanya pani pipasa, every now and then the child wants to drink from the breasts of his or her mother. No shaktaha cha indriyebhyaha, in terms of the strength in all the limbs, in all the organs, the child is very weak, doesn't have shakti. And bhavaguna janitaha jantavaha. At times there may be some infection. Jantavaha could be minor, small, bacterial level, or some crawling insects. Something could bite us, something could hurt us. But we don't know, we have no language, we just cry. I believe there was a child which wore the shoes in a hurry in some place in India and started crying. And then it was found a small snake. A snake had gone in. Or a snake or scorpion. Or scorpion, correct. And a very sad story. I think the child died or something. Yeah. Because sometimes we leave our shoes outside and the scorpion can go in. So that's a very extreme, rare case. Accidents happen all the time. Very sad though. So, jantavaha tudanti. Tudanti means trouble me. They inflict pain on me. Nana rogadi dukkhat, out of various ailments. And this is all bad luck. Karma is an explanation on a certain level. And we don't overstretch karma. One of the criticisms on this karma siddhanta, that life is all as per your past karma. The criticism that is made is you don't act. You just say, it is karma, so keep quiet. That is not true. Sanatana Dharma never says, don't act. The explanation is not a green signal for inaction. The explanation is to give you certain philosophical outlook. And we must every moment do what is possible. We must do what is sensible, what is within our reach. Let's say you see a very poor man, not even having enough clothes on him, hungry also. Sanatana Dharma, which says what he is in, what situation he is in, is of course due to his karma. And it doesn't say, don't worry about it, his karma, you walk away. Nor does it say everybody passing by that road should get into that man's case. It's a complicated case. Many a time these beggars are false beggars too. Some movies have come out, where a beggar is crying and collects a lot of money. He actually makes millions. And then one day, somebody who had helped him with financial support, throwing some money and so on. One Sunday he goes to a movie, and they move in a cinema theatre, and he, in the intermission, goes to the washroom. He sees the next person peeing over there, looks familiar. Again, I've seen him somewhere. Then he realizes this is a beggar whom I give money again and again. And on Sunday he buys a first class ticket and well dressed and nicely shaven. Monday morning his work begins again. There have been such cases. There was some Bhandarkar who made a movie on Bombay's life, Bombay life. What Bhandarkar was? Madhur Bhandarkar. don't know whether any of you heard of it. Madhur Bhandarkar made a movie.
How rich these beggars are.
Right. It's about the beggars of Bombay, it is the underworld of Bombay, the hypocrisy of business people in Bombay, cinema world, the Bollywood, very realistic movie many years ago. The director was Madhur Bhandarkar. In that they show. Therefore, Sanatana Dharma that proposes Karma Siddhanta neither asks you to remain passive nor pushes you into trying to help everybody. You figure out, you think about it. By giving financial help, am I really helping that man or encouraging him to remain where he is?
Yeah.
Maybe he rejects all other jobs, this is earning better and so on. So there are so many aspects. So here it is said, Nana rogadi dukkha rudana paravashara shankaram na smarami. Amidst all this, I go from error to error, I don't take a break, I don't stop, I don't pause and think of God. Because thinking of God, contemplation on Shiva in this context is what can lift us to a higher level. By merely resolving, I won't do this tomorrow onwards, this was an error, it may not work. Because that resolution dissolves next moment. You forget. Some of us, with regard to work also, we make so many lists of things to do. And then one fine morning, the only task before is, where did all those lists go? And where did I make the list? So, whether it is duties or this inner correction, we want to change for better, our own mind lets us down. Whereas a few minutes do yoga, a few minutes do pranayama, just a few minutes. You don't have to do everything every day, but as in a manner of saying, some of these exercises make you go to a higher plane and you look at some erroneous or wrong behavior of yours so dispassionately, without any bias, and you see the foolishness in those patterns. And seeing the foolishness of our behavior is the best antidote for that kind of stupid behavior. We change. The best change takes place out of awareness of our false ways. I think Wayne Dyer or someone had written a book. Wayne Dyer now is no more. Wayne, W-A-Y-N-E, Dyer, D-Y-E-R. Was a very powerful, well-received speaker in America. Wrote many books. He was deeply touched by Nisargadatta of Mumbai, an enlightened man. So Wayne Dyer wrote many books. One of them was Your Erroneous Zones. And over there, he hints at the same. You, because of the mechanism of thinking, at a given point of life, you think of yourself in certain way, and rest of it just follows. If you want to rise to a higher plane, while you are doing what you at that moment regard as your duties, keep doing, but take a short break. Remembering God, Shankaram Smarami. Shankara Smarana, remembering. That can give you certain fresh outlooks and can bring about healthy changes. And the author says, alas, I never took even 2 minutes off. Earlier we said, time doesn't have much to do with inner transformation. In the light of it, I should add here that this 2 minutes is more to say, not that 2 minutes are required. It's not time at all, but the very act of looking within. Somebody looks within, somebody sits quiet and exercises that inner attention for a few seconds, might discover an erroneous zone, might clearly see where she or he is going wrong. Somebody else who is less mature philosophically says, I have decided not less than 30 minutes of meditation. All he does is every few seconds look at the clock or the counter. Another 23 minutes remain. And strains himself. So that kind of giving importance to the length of time. Swami used to say, Chidananda, it's not a matter of length but depth. It's not a matter of quantity but quality. Which doesn't mean completely ignore, do have some broad plans. I'll do minimum of 20 minutes of yoga. Have a plan. But don't give undue importance to that 20 minutes. Awareness is the higher plateau. J. Krishnamurti once said a very strange statement. I have been doing yoga, he said. I have been doing yoga for last 40 years, but I never allowed it to become a habit. People said, what is he talking? Every morning if he does yoga, it is his habit. But then you need to understand his language. For him, habit is something that is mechanical. And he, by saying, I never allowed my morning yoga to become habit, what he meant to us, he was all the time aware of his body. If one morning his body said, hey, please don't trouble me, I'm not ready for this bending the body or whatever, he would not do. That's what he claims. Very hard for us. Whereas we always struggle with this will. Someday our body says, leave me alone. We say, no, yesterday only, and the mistake I made is I told all my friends, so I have to do now, all such stuff. And once somebody asked J. Krishnamurti, who is believed to have stayed in a certain free awareness, they asked, Krishnaji, they used to call him Krishnaji. You say that we must listen to the body, we must live in moment to moment awareness. Wonderful. Suppose 1,000 people are waiting for your talk. The talk has to begin, let's say, at 5 p.m. And 4:45, your body says, for heaven's sake, leave me alone. Cancel that talk. I want to rest. By listening to the body, by being aware of a certain inner lack of readiness, would you cancel the talk? And I believe, without batting an eyelid, J. Krishnamurti answered, yes, if my body says it needs rest, even if 1,000 people are waiting there, I have to walk up and take the seat and talk, I would cancel it. And the listener listened with the disbelief. Then Krishnamurti added, but that scenario never happened in my life. When I read it first, or I heard it from some persons who had interacted with him, I said, for me that happens all the time. I only tell Priya or somebody, please organize a lecture, and when the lecture is organized, should I give a lecture? So there are these self-created conflicts, because we go by concepts and how I should be, and we go by some models, whereas those of heightened awareness, they don't go by some models. Something else drives them. In our own traditional language, God drives them. The divine spirit guides them. Certain love in their heart drives them. When there is certain love for the wisdom, when there is certain love for people who want to learn, when there is love of several dimensions, then that part in us which says, I want to sleep a little more, I want to have another cup of coffee, this is the best time to listen to some old Asha Bhosle song, recently she passed away. Those won't arise. The love in our heart for the work we are doing makes as though the table clear. And when we need to give a talk or engage in a discussion, the love moves us. Call it love, call it bhakti, call it jnana, or for Krishnamurti it was that unobstructed flow of awareness. Live in awareness. Moment to moment, you live in awareness. So Shankaram na smarami, I took the liberty to elaborate in a different way. What it means is lifting ourselves to a higher contemplation is a Ramabana, a great Aushadha for a lot of psychological ailments. I think time is up. We'll stop here. And the next two verses we'll cover in the next class. They are my favorite verses in this entire Shiva-aparādha-kshamāpana-stotra. I use them in my own prayers too. One is a description of Shiva, his form. Chandrodbhasita Shekare, having Chandra on his head. I pray, I meditate on him and so on. Or saying to our own mind, oh mind, dwell on that form of Shiva and don't get swayed. Another is, all said and done, what have things of the world to give me? There is a great appeal for seeing the impermanence of things of the world. Vairagya. And as all of you know, Vairagya is a great wealth for spiritual movement. When we have true Vairagya, then spiritual progress takes place very fast. When there is no Vairagya, it is as though I want to go, but my legs and hands are tied by invisible ropes. I want to go do some good thing, but suddenly I see some samosas are there on the platform. Wait a minute. Not all, but one I will bite. Attachment to samosa, or some thought of somebody to whom we are attached, some child, spouse, relationship. We have many kinds of attachments. And relationships are not a problem, but there is something called attachment which binds us. So, that shloka which we will take up, actually by number it is almost 12 or 13. I jumped, but that's okay, in some sequence. All the 12 we will cover. I have attachments to examples and jokes and all. That's why my progress of covering the topic, it's not samosa, but it's a nice joke, I remember. Wait a minute, before telling them the higher truth, let me tell them this joke. Then I said, let me pause here and you are welcome to make one or two comments or questions. Om Namah Shivaya.
Swamiji, you referred to Harilal Puja.
Correct.
So immediately what came to is this famous statement, call off the search, and he very laughingly says, call off the search, spiritual search.
Oh, search, okay.
Call off the search.
Okay.
And he says there is nothing to search. Why are you searching? And at the same time, Vedanta tells you it is a Shurasya Dharya. Oh, be aware, it is a very dangerous path. It has to be like a razor. You have to be always be aware what you are getting attached to. And then again, like when Swamiji, you brought up the samosa statement, the same, I was thinking, we are all attached to samosas. Gurudev's statement, Gurudev famously, somebody gave him a coffee and he made all the sounds and then drank and said, who said there is no pleasure in coffee?
Correct.
And then while he was walking out, he said, of course, that is temporary. So, how do you be always be alert? How do you drink? So, the statement indicates you can have coffee, samosa, but I don't assign any value. Next time I see a samosa, I am not running after it, or it doesn't appear. So, how do you reconcile these statements? How they are able to eat samosa and coffee without being attached, whereas we run after. That seems to be the crux of the problem, right?
Yeah, therefore take an integrated approach. If in your life certain exercises have helped you, do them more regularly. All of us have learnt many things. Yoga, pranayama, study, discussing. Again and again we have Shreya and Preya coming before us. So we should increase the Shreya. That is on the to-do list. Then the rest of it happens. Even Gurudev also arrived there by following the same, opt for Shreya wherever possible. Be kind to yourself. Don't blame yourself for your lapses, because that becomes another problem. It's like somebody got up, he wanted to get up at 6 a.m. He got up at 7 a.m. Oh, what a lazy man. It filled him with so much of agitations. He had to sleep again to overcome. To overcome that agitation, that sorrow, that self-rejection, he had to sleep till 9. What is this? You got up at 7. Now don't waste a single minute. Get going. No, I feel so bad, I feel so bad. I think I am letting down my gurus, I am letting down Bhagavad Gita, I am letting down Ramayana. I am so unworthy. I don't actually deserve to live. I want to just sleep. This is adding to the problem. In that sense, I am saying, all of us, should be in a certain way compassionate to ourselves. Accept what has already happened. Take a deep breath, and next moment do what you think is wise. That is the best medicine for the errors committed. It's a puzzle. Life is a big puzzle. The sadhana also is a puzzle. Therefore that statement, yap pashyati sa pashyati. He who sees, sees. You can change it to yada pashyasi tada pashyasi. You will see it, when? When you see it. You will see it when you see it. Yat pashyati sa pashyati. In Gita it comes at 2 places.
We forget common sense, right?
Huh?
We forget common sense.
Exactly. We forget common sense. We are hijacked by concepts.
Intellectualize. I think we have a tendency to intellectualize everything.
Intellectualize. And in another language they say a sense of what should be sometimes hijacks us and takes us away from a right perception of the situation. We already conceived how it should be. I go to a party, I already imagined that they will garland. Nobody garland. So many such things in relationships. So it's so difficult for us to be free from preconceived ideas. I'll go there, this will happen, then this will happen, and of course there's one nasty person there. In fact, he may steal the garland kept for me. So imagination. We don't go with a plain, simple, childlike mind. The aushadha, the medicine is just be aware how your mind is playing those tricks. Ask yourself questions. Has garland become so important? Has you are getting a seat on the stage become so important? Has, like that, we give importance to somebody being kind to us. Maybe that person, if he is not kind to me, he is a little grim, and then why should I take it to my heart? He perhaps is going through some conflict. The fact that he has opened the door for me to go in itself is divine grace. It's okay. Sit. And if someone who has welcomed you to his house, then suddenly is very grim, I'm just constructing an example. Don't take it to heart. Of course it pains you a little. You are ready for a 2 hours grand time there. But after 5 minutes you may say, looks like you are busy. Thank you, I'll see you again. Walk away. And more than thinking about why was he so grim, he called me and he was not at all hospitable, I don't know. Rather than thinking about it, think about him a little, but see why your mind is reacting so much. Why your mind is agitated so much. Life has its unexpected changes. What's that Swamiji's statement? Disappointment comes to them
Who makes an appointment with the future?
You imagine this would happen, that will happen.
Your own example yesterday's.
Oh really? What are you for?
No, your trip, Swamiji.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
True. I was visualizing. I land in RDU at 7 p.m. I will be at this house by
That's what you were telling us.
8 p.m. But my flight, instead of leaving John F. Kennedy Airport at 5 p.m., it left at night 1:15 a.m. Yeah. And I entered this house at 4:05 a.m. So you never know what direction life takes. Great. Tomorrow what time is the class?
10:30? 10:30.
Oh, it's 10:30,
In the
not
morning.
early morning. Okay.
Yeah.
Swamiji, if I may ask one more to Krishnamurti's statement, he never missed an appointment. And I was thinking about this flight example, and we are always worried that, okay, I have to reach in time, I have to be punctual for the time to the lecture.
Correct.
So, it is because my mind is thinking, I am acting, I am disciplined, and so I am reaching. If I ask the mind, why are you so worried? Why are you constantly thinking?
Yeah.
And if I don't think also, it is going to that statement, like, it is not because I am thinking that these things are happening. Krishnamurti said for 40 years, it has happened. So, somehow we have caught up in this idea that mind needs to be thinking for certain things to happen. That awareness makes this body function, is somehow we are missing something that...
True.
So, it seems very hard to let go of that idea if something I need to think for certain things to take place.
True. Yeah. True. Thought guiding us and awareness guiding us are two planes. And awareness is not opposed to thought, but thought is certainly a secondary tool. If thought becomes primary tool, then we undergo stress. Because thought means something mechanical. Awareness is real life. Yeah. To live in awareness, to live in
How can
attention.
you tell the difference? Can you give us an example?
Yeah. So, if thought were dominating, awareness has taken a back seat, then there is some artificiality in our behavior. We are driven by artificialities, we are driven by concepts. You know. Thought is, like I said a sentence while ago, right? Thought is mechanical. Mechanical means programmed. So I go to receive my son at the airport. He is coming after 2 years of being away, let us say. Suppose my thought has become very mechanical. Thought is mechanical. I go there and I expect him to come running, Papa, and give me a hug. I imagine, which he had done last time. But this time he just comes near and says, "Is everything okay, Dad?" So if I am caught in thought, it can cause a jitter in me. Whereas if awareness is primarily leading, primarily guiding me, I do notice he is behaving in a bit different way than what I imagined. That's fine, because after all, in 2 years, many things have happened in his life. Many things have happened in my life too. Why should I cling to a model of how son and father used to meet 2 years ago, 3 years ago? And he's coming and just saying, "How are things, Dad?" There's nothing wrong with it. Even if you make some nasty statement, "Dad, could you not get a better shirt to come here?" Suppose. My love, the son whom I love. So on the surface it might be a poker, or what do you call it, Why is he saying this? This is not how sons have to behave and all that, And then there is a problem with me. Or if there is something really insensitive about it, when awareness reigns supreme, I do realize, I do see something very not right, but then I will handle it in a more mature way, rather than fretting and fuming. We fret and fume, we go into conclusions, we go into judgmentalism. Judge we have to in life. Without judging, how can you live? But judgmentalism is where certain habit-based judgments rule the roost. That is thought. Thought is conditioned. Awareness is like real life. Thought is like processed food, packaged food. Warm it up and eat. With all due respect to it, nothing like freshly cooked. Something freshly cut, fresh vegetables cut and served. Like that, awareness has a certain quality of being so much in the present. But we do need thought. Awareness doesn't mean you stand there, sun comes and you are looking at the decorations of the airport. And he said, Dad, I have come. Wait a moment, my son. And another set of thoughts have hijacked you. So, thought we need for function. The word used is functionality. There are two great words, functional and psychological. Functional is where appropriate things have to be done. It needs thought. Thought visualizes what is appropriate. So maybe my wife said to me, when you receive our son at the airport, you know, remember he loves coffee. Ask him, shall we have a cup of coffee before going home? Do ask, don't forget. So thought reminds me. She said to me. So I asked my son about some coffee and then we go home. Dad, you remember, even now I love coffee, he says. So these are all functional. Psychological means to make an issue of whether he showed enough regard or not, and then start boiling. The word psychological here, let me say this to conclude the reply, is something that revolves around our ego. Egoism is different from, being functional. You have to discharge certain functions. You are principal of a school and you have some 30 teachers under you. You need to do the function of giving some decisions. Some topic has to be taught, some subject, and you say, ask somebody, you teach science this time to 10th grade, and 2 or 3 faces show they are unhappy. They wanted to teach science. But you have thought over, you have done the groundwork. So you have to take that unpleasant decision. No, this time this person will teach science to 10th grade. All of you have reassigned some various functions. Some of them are unpleasant decisions. But just because the principal, pleased to one guy or lady and displeased 2 or 3, by itself it's not egoistic. Egoism is, in your heart. Suppose there was a wave of pleasure in denying to 2 or 3 people because of a personal equation. This girl thinks too much of herself and she doesn't respect me enough. So this time I will not give her the much sought after science or economics or anything, Then there's a personal equation there. That is egoism. So that's a psychological movement. Psychological movement of thought revolves around a certain ego. A wounded ego, a flattered ego. Sometimes, because you were very good to me last time, this time I see you in some party, I come with a soft drink, how are you doing, and so on. Watch your mind. To ask some courteous questions is functional. But you left everybody else and came to him or her because your ego was flattered last time and somewhere you met and he or she was so good to you. That memory, makes you go out of your way to pay attention to somebody. But this time he or she might change totally. That gives a slap. So when we are egoistic, we get heartburn also. So the ego and the functional aspect of our responses. Over to some announcement or...
She has a beautiful vision. She'll share some.
Oh, sure. Oh, that Abhinandanam was so sweet. I had not heard last time. I have heard many of Swamiji's Tejaman.
That's very cute.
But Abhinandanam is a recent one. It has been around.
A couple of years. Maybe a few years at least, yeah.
But you sang it so well. Just 4 lines. Whatever. Today sharing something else. Go ahead.
We can do lead and follow. It's a Kannada Shiva bhajan. Hey Shiva Shankara Nata Abhayankara. Hey Shiva Shankara Nata Abhayankara. ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ. ಹೇ ಶಿವಶಂಕರ ನಟ ಅಭಯಂಕರ, ಹೇ ಶಿವಶಂಕರ ನಟ ಅಭಯಂಕರ. ಶಂಭೋ ಶಂಕರ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ, ಶಂಭೋ ಶಂಕರ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ. ಈಶ ಸರ್ವೇಶ ಗೌರೀಶ ಜಗದೀಶ, ಈಶ ಸರ್ವೇಶ ಗೌರೀಶ ಜಗದೀಶ. ನಟನ ವಿಶಾರದ ನಟರಾಜನೇ, ನಟನ ವಿಶಾರದ ನಟರಾಜನೇ. ಹೇ ಜೀವಾತ್ಮನೇ, ಹೇ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನೇ, ಹೇ ಜೀವಾತ್ಮನೇ, ಹೇ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನೇ. ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ. ಹೇ ಶಿವಶಂಕರ ನಟ ಅಭಯಂಕರ, ಹೇ ಶಿವಶಂಕರ ನಟ ಅಭಯಂಕರ. ಶಂಭೋ ಶಂಕರ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ, ಶಂಭೋ ಶಂಕರ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ. ಭಯ ಪರಿಹಾರಕ ದುರಿತ ನಿವಾರಕ, ಭಯ ಪರಿಹಾರಕ ದುರಿತ ನಿವಾರಕ. ಸಕಲೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ಜಗದೀಶನೇ, ಸಕಲೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ಜಗದೀಶನೇ. ಹೇ ಜೀವಾತ್ಮನೇ, ಹೇ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನೇ, ಹೇ ಜೀವಾತ್ಮನೇ, ಹೇ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನೇ. ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ, ನಂಬಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಹಾದೇವನೇ. ಹೇ ಶಿವಶಂಕರ ನಟ ಅಭಯಂಕರ, ಹೇ ಶಿವಶಂಕರ ನಟ ಅಭಯಂಕರ. ಶಂಭೋ ಶಂಕರ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ, ಶಂಭೋ ಶಂಕರ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ. ಶಂಭೋ ಶಂಕರ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ, ಶಂಭೋ ಶಂಕರ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Concluding prayer.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ सतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Swamiji.
Huh?
Thank you.
Oh, yes, yes.
We'll have prasadam downstairs. Please stay and.
There are some books kept there. Everybody can pick up one. It's a complimentary. Where are the... Dr. Oh, ಈ ಕಡೆ. Pick up any title that interests you.
So sweet. Yeah, it's a calling. It's such a beautiful. Yeah, and I was like, how? It was funny. I was thinking about it when I heard the topic. Yeah, I love beautiful. Oh, you're so welcome. You keep it. I think we're just hanging out every Friday. It was from this. It was like one of the 3 times association. Here it is. And I give it this name. I think you'll read it. I think you'll say it. Oh, no, it's fine. I think like it's weird. I think we'll break it. You know, like break the story. I can't give it
I don't think we maybe we.
That's in the...
If you're doing 11 and 12.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, we're just gonna.